What's up, man? Hey, Alex, you can hear me? Well, I can't hear you. Hold on, let me see if my sound all the way up. Yeah, my sound up. I don't know why I can't hear you. Yeah, I still can't hear you, bro. If you talking, I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on. I don't know what's going. I can't hear neither one of y'all. Can
I
y'all hear
can't
me?
hear him.
Okay, I can hear y'all now. I can hear y'all now.
I was on mute. Oh, you're good.
All right. We should be live now. Let me
Well, fellas,
What's up? What's up, fellas? Just making sure. Hold on, let me just make sure everything right on the other end. Oh yeah, we live now. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna send y'all the link real fast, and then we get started. You know, y'all can send that out to whoever y'all want to.
Oh, good.
How y'all been though, man?
Good, man. How you been?
Been better. Can't relate to you, boy, but it's getting better. Alright. I just sent y'all the link. All right, fellas, y'all ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so good afternoon to those tuning in to the show once again. We back in action, live in the flesh. My name is Tavares Wilson, owner and founder of Last Word Productions on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, etc. Wherever you got social media, more than likely I'm on there. And here are my two other co-hosts. Y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
These on all platforms.
Mr. Alex Harden on all platforms.
All right. Now, as we all know, man, we in the NBA playoffs. It's been a while since we spoke, so a lot has transpired over that time. But being the fact that these playoffs are taking a turn in directions that a lot of people wouldn't have seen, and we're gonna start specifically with the Brooklyn Nets and Boston Celtics series. Now, I don't know about you all, but me personally, I actually said do not be surprised or shocked if Boston wins this series. But Stiz, I want to start with you because I know you're a Jason Tatum guy. So give me your thoughts on what has transpired this series so far and how do you think it's going to play out for both teams?
I don't think anybody should be shocked as so far as how the series has developed, but I think everybody's a little surprised because KD and Kyrie didn't play up to or have not played up to their own standards, especially the way Kyrie was going off, mid season, 60-point games and performances where he's 12 of 12, 13 of 13 before he misses his first shot and everything. I think this series ultimately just came down to them being able to play physical, like being able to bump and touch on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, get them off their spots. KD being double teamed. Also, both of them having to work on the other end. So a lot of people take that for granted. A lot of people thought that the Nets were going to come in and just sweep the table because they're able to score at will. And now that we're seeing them actually finally have their only two, their key scores or whatever stroke, is different. With the Jason Tatum situation, I mean, like I say, I was trolling people on TikTok last night because after I had done the video, I went back into the comments and all those that were saying he's crazy or he's stupid or he's hating, never talk basketball again. I just put the little ears emoji. You know what I'm saying? I had to send that a couple times.
Right.
So I'm having fun with this series, especially seeing that Jason Tatum, not this past game, but 2 games ago, got like 2 blocks on KD and Alpha. So yeah, I think we starting to see that last bucket mentality is just, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm able to score the last shot. I think it's hearsay now. Like we don't care anymore.
Right. Go ahead, Alex. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, it's embarrassing for KD and Kyrie. There's no excuses. KD talks about how he wants to be the best player in the league. Obviously, that's not the case when Bruce Brown is your leading scorer in a game 3 at home that you desperately need to win. you're going to score what, 16 points? Like, that's embarrassing. KD should have had 40 last night easily. There's no more excuses. If this was LeBron James, it would be the weekly news for the whole week about how he collapsed in the playoffs. But since it's KD, we're going to let it slide. No, it's done. I mean, the experiment in Brooklyn's over. Somebody's leaving, probably Kevin Durant, because he always leaves when he fails. And he goes, and he'll probably be a Celtic next season. I mean, it just is what it is, bro. Like, it's ridiculous that he's not getting the backlash he should be getting. And Kyrie, it is what it is, man. I mean, at least he shot 17 times yesterday, where Durant took 11 shots. Like, that's embarrassing. I mean, Bruce Brown had 19 shots. KD had 11. I mean, they're just, it's done in Brooklyn. Time to blow it up.
Did he end up with double-digit assists?
Did he have double-digit assists?
Who,
He had
KD?
8.
Oh, okay.
He had 16, 8, and 8. But still, I mean, you have 16 points.
No, that's why I was about to try to give him a little bit of leeway if he at least.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, Stiz, because that's gonna go into the point I want to make. So I'm with Alex on this one. There's no more excuses. That I'm not giving. And then what's killing me I got a lot I want to say about this. What's killing me the most about these guys is that everyone just wants to blame Steve Nash. And I'm not saying Steve Nash is an all-time great coach. I'm not even saying he's a decent coach. But you cannot tell me Steve Nash is at fault for piss poor effort. These guys are out there bounce passing inbound passes. They're just being reckless, careless with the ball, and they're literally just playing hero ball. That's not on coaching. You can blame coaching all you want. Is his late game rotations terrible? Yes. Is his game, is his differential between offensive schemes to actually make his superstars and get them in position to be better the greatest? No. But at the end of the day, Steve Nash has something that a lot of coaches do not have. He has two of the best shot creators and scorers in the league. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how to get these guys going. He puts them in position to make the best basketball play on the court. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving simply are not doing that. And that's what a lot of people are not understanding. There should be zero excuse to why Kevin Durant did not finish last night with at least 12 assists. Every possession, he has somebody open. It's not a trick. They know he cannot make the correct passes and correct plays to get other guys to be successful, like a LeBron James or like even a Chris Paul. That is the difference in this series right now. They're betting on other people to not only to beat them, but they're also betting on KD that you're not going to make the right play. And he hasn't. For 3 straight games, he's been arguably the third or fourth best player on the games in the series. And that's not good enough. I mean, the guy played his 3 worst games we've ever seen. 0 for 10 in the second half from the game before last. Then this game, he only takes 11 shots. And then the only reason why he had 27 points the last game because he took 20 free throws. I mean, we have to hold these guys accountable. This is a guy that people said is the best in the league. At what point do you have to prove that?
But again, it's because of the whole, he's a bucket mentality. If you have a nice jump shot, they forgive all. They don't give a damn if you've been winning or not. They're gonna blame the team. It's like, as long as you're the best offensive talent on your team, and it's a clear presence of, like, this is another tier of offense, they forgive everything. And last year, just what you were seeing about his worst games or some of his worst performances. Yeah, these are easily his worst postseason performances in 3 consecutive games. So that should tell you something. I do give Steve Nash a little bit of blame, but I'm blaming KD and Kyrie for sure first. But I think we see the difference between being a smart player versus being a coach in the NBA. Steve Nash is a smart player. He can probably draw up some offensive plays, but he hasn't coached anybody since he's been there. And they've been kind of coasting on talent. And we see now, like I say, I think when Durant won MVP, Westbrook, I think, played like 28 games this season, and Durant still got them to like a 3, maybe 4 seed, but they were still, a pretty high seed, and he had a scoring title that year as well. But I think that's just it. I think that's the pinnacle of his abilities. He cannot lead a team. He can't carry a team to a championship.
I mean, it's crazy too because he wouldn't even have his championships if it weren't for Curry. Because he was never winning one with OKC. He wasn't going to win one anywhere else. I mean, it's clear he's not even going to get out of the first round in Brooklyn. And, like, I mean, this team is just not built very well. Maybe Ben Simmons will come back and help spread the floor, but it's too late. What you been sitting on the bench for 3 games, Ben Simmons? You're not going to.
Ben Simmons is he officially supposed to play?
Supposed to play.
He's supposed to.
Who knows?
He's supposed to play.
Are they even going to risk it? Like, okay, he comes out and gives you what, 12 and 9? Cool.
Listen, if he plays, it'll be for defensive purposes only.
Yeah, but it's not going to matter because KD's getting the shit beat out of him every time he touches the ball, and then you're supposed to be 7 foot tall, but you can't hit a jump shot over whoever's guarding you. I don't even know who's been guarding him most of the time. I think it's been Jaylen Brown. But, like, it's a ridiculous failure for the Brooklyn Nets. The fact that they're about to be swept out of the first round by Boston is insane.
And
yeah, at this point, I think it would have been better for them to not make the play-in because they could at least blame Ben over James Harden left and Kyrie played half the game.
Right, but the thing, let me add on to what Alex was just saying about KD being guarded. Well, in this series, Jason Tatum has done a fabulous job on Kevin Durant. I mean, I don't know from the games from last night, but I know going into the games of last night, when he was the primary defender on KD, he was 2 for 17 shooting, held them to, I believe it was 9 points, and he had about 6 turnovers. I mean, in this series alone, Kevin Durant has made only 19 shots and have 17 turnovers in the series. He simply is not seeing the court, and the Celtics are exposing that weakness in his game. He is like what Stig said. He's nothing but a scorer. There's nothing wrong with that. You need to score points, but when you're held to this standard that you are the best in the game right now, when we've called guys like LeBron, Jordan, even now Giannis, guys who have showed they can take you to the promised land and give you whatever you need on any given night. I just don't see that from Kevin Durant, and that's a problem. And that's a problem to me. But let's get off into some other series that's been going on. So another series that took some people by surprise is the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks series going off into the Western Conference. Luka Doncic missed the first 3 games, I'm sorry. And now he made his return last night, and it didn't come so well. It ended sourly for the Dallas Mavericks. So, Alex, I'm going to start with you this time, man. So, give me your thoughts and your take on this series thus far.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like how Utah had to win that game last night. I mean, if they lose that game, we're talking another situation like Brooklyn where you got to blow it up. Because Donovan Mitchell doesn't like Rudy Gobert. I mean, I know he had the game-winning assist to him last night, but it's clear that they're not friends. And I think Donovan Mitchell is going to find his way out of Utah very fast when they lose this series ultimately, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to lose. They should have lost last night. They blew a ridiculous halftime lead, and they should have lost. I mean, Luka is by far the best player, and he missed the 3 games. And Gobert is probably – the fact that he's making all-star games is crazy to me because he is a liability on offense. Like, he's great. His defensive mind and presence makes up for him on offense. But when you have such a great scorer in Luka, like if I traded right now, let's say, who's a team that needs defense? Okay, if the Hornets sent Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier to Utah, Utah's better. Like, I don't know. I'm just really disappointed in Utah. They're such a regular season team, and then they make the playoffs, and it's just we're gonna lose in 6 games to Dallas without Luka.
The Utah situation is definitely a coaching situation. They've been to the playoffs every year. Donovan Mitchell's been in the league, and so here's the thing. I don't think that Donovan Mitchell can be your best player and you make even the conference finals more or less a championship because he is a 26 5-5 guy during the season and a 4.8, 5.6, and 32 guy, in the playoffs. Like his game doesn't change much. He just takes more shots. For the longest, they struggled with perimeter defense. I think last year was the first year we actually got to see like, oh, okay, well, if you just play perimeter ball against them all game long and try to get the ball to whoever Rudy's guarding at the perimeter, you're gonna win. They've done a lot of that so far this year as well. But I do. Rudy Gobert is a liability on both offense and defense sometimes, depending on who you're playing. But I do believe that if you put a more dominant, a more consistent dominant ball player other than Donovan Mitchell, I think you could get a little more out of him. I mean, I think he's averaging somewhere like 15 and 15 for his career. Plus, you know, you're going to get 2 blocks a game, arguable defensive player of the year. So I do agree that he has liabilities on both ends, but I had read a statistic or something like that where it said that Donovan Mitchell only passes the ball to Rudy Gobert like 2, maybe 3 times per game.
They don't like each other.
You know, I think that says a lot. Yes, correct. Like there's no way that they like each other playing like that. But I think that says a lot too about his utilization. And they've had a slew of talent come through there since Donovan Mitchell has been there. So it's got to be coaching.
Right, and I 1,100% agree with Stiggs on this one. And let me add on to what Stiggs is just saying. Let's look at these stats real quick. The last 3 seasons, Donovan Mitchell, when he's out of the lineup, the Jazz are 20 and 14. Not exceptional, not perfect, you know, but it's good, it's solid. Without Rudy Gobert, this team is 39 and 57. This is a team. People can rag on Rudy Gobert all they want to. They need this guy. They don't have to say that. They don't have to admit it. The numbers speak for themselves. When he's not on the court, their defense gets drastically worse. Their offense drastically worse. Because he may not be Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic as a scorer, but this is a guy who led the league in screen assists to get his guys open and get them shots. He does that for you, and he's one of the best rim runners and rollers in the league. A lot of these little details are important, and I can't sit here and blame him for not being implemented in the offense. I mean, the man through 2 games took 3 shots. I mean, that's coaching. It's like what Stig said. That is nothing but coaching. Don't tell me a guy who's shooting 70% for his career from the field can't score. He may not be Hakeem Olajuwon, but he could get the ball in the bucket. And that's not me defending Rudy Gobert and saying he has no blame in this at all, because he does. But their biggest issue to me is coaching, and then after that, it's Donovan Mitchell. He has to be a better playmaker. He takes a lot of terrible shots. And the fact that people just continuously throw the blame on Rudy Gobert, I think is a bit unjust. Because, like I said, this guy isn't even getting the opportunity to show what he can do.
Like I said, Donovan Mitchell is the type of guy, you know, he's giving 45, 50.5 performances. But I don't know if y'all remember, like the last time we saw like a dominant Donovan Mitchell was that Nuggets series. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Him and Jamal Murray were kind of going back and forth. But even then, like I say, you got the bucket when you needed it, but you couldn't get a stop on the other end. Jamal Murray was taking those same half-court shots he was, except his was more consistent. He never got exhausted every time. But for Donovan Mitchell, like I say, it comes down to those last 2 or 3 minutes per game. And not only does he look exhausted, like I say, he's taking those horrible shots. And if they just so happen to go in, he can't go down to the other end and get stopped.
I mean, all right, give me 25 a night, give me 3 assists, and then my point guard is going to give me 13 assists. 6 of those are going to be alley-oops to Rudy Gobert. Or blow it up, and send. You know what's funny is the perfect trade candidate for Utah would be Dallas. Send Rudy Gobert to Dallas, give him Luka, and their pick and roll game would be elite. It will never happen because they're in the West together, but I think if Dallas was smart, they'd go get a center like Rudy Gobert to run with Luka, because that would be legal.
I actually said if the Bulls if they would have traded for Rudy Gobert like how a lot of people had them rumored to trade for him, I actually would have picked him coming out the East. Because to me, a Rudy Gobert-like player is all the Bulls need. A rim protector is someone who can run the floor for them. They don't have size at all. Outside of Nikola Vukovic, who's a stretch big at this point, that's how he plays, there isn't much size on that team. And if you give them Rudy Gobert, with the shooters they have, and you with the passes, willing passes they have, in a guy like Zach LaVine, even DeMar DeRozan to an extent. I know Lonzo Ball is out, but Lonzo and Caruso would have definitely fed Rudy Gobert in the posted area because that's simply what they do. They're 3-and-D kind of guys. So
I actually like that. I like that trade a lot if I'm Utah, but I would ask for Lonzo Ball back. I would want Lonzo Ball to be my point guard. And then that front court of Lonzo and Donovan would be really nice. And then you just have to find a center in either free agency or the draft.
Right. But so in the other series last night, the Grizzlies actually fell to the Timberwolves, which is shaping up to be a pretty good series to watch right now. So the Timberwolves tied it up last night 2-2. This is another series that I told people to be wary of because both of these teams are young, both are explosive, and both can have players that could go for 30 to 40 a night if they are hot. So, Stiz, I'm going to start with you, my man. So, give me your thoughts on this series thus far.
I thought it was actually going to be flipped. I thought it was going to be, I'm sorry, because I keep getting the teams mixed up. I thought it was actually going to be Memphis to kind of have to, play from behind. They were less experienced, all that other good stuff. Up until last night, I think that Memphis looked like the better team. They just needed to do better with closing. But I'm sorry, this is a great matchup. I thought Karl Anthony Towns was. I knew he was going to be aggressive, but I thought he was going to be a little more dominant, than he has been so far in the series. I think that last night was one of those games, trying to come out of his shell and break the stigma of, can he be that 30 and 15 guy? I don't think he'll have to be in this series, but if they have any chance of ever making the finals with him on the roster, he's going to have to give a series like that. They mess up one call on one end, they have to try to give it back on the other. But I think if they can get a consistent call, I got Ja Morant and his guys pulling it out. But if the winner of this series will go on to play Golden State?
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, so
no,
they'll go on to play Golden State.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this: regardless who wins, I think they're gonna be kind of out for blood with the new DEFCON 5 lineup that Golden State's been running or whatever. But I would love to see the Grizzlies in that position more than the Timberwolves.
Oh yeah, Timberwolves are getting swept if they go against Golden State. Memphis is losing in 5, but I agree. I mean, it would be more entertaining to see Ja go up against that Golden State team. Now, I'll tell you what, Ja Morant was embarrassing yesterday. He had 11 points. That's ridiculous for a guy that's supposed to be the next MVP. But at the same time, Memphis is missing one key position. Not even a position. They're missing a veteran like what Minnesota has in Patrick Beverley. They desperately need an older guy on that team that he doesn't even have to be a superstar. They need a rotational older guy to coach these young guys because they play wild sometimes. And they just need somebody to be like, listen, we're in the playoffs. This isn't a regular season game. You guys got to lock in. And I agree with you, Stiggs. I think not Minnesota. Why can't I think
Memphis?
I think Memphis will ultimately end up winning. I think it will be in like 6 or 7 games though.
Right. Let me just piggyback what you all to say. I think both teams are young. I think I agree with you completely, Alex, that Memphis definitely needs that veteran presence on their roster to ultimately help them get to that next level. A lot of people downplay what a veteran can do for a team, in terms of not just leadership, but just on the court, just leadership and ability to the point where he could slow the pace down and get the team back involved instead of just, just running and gunning the entire game. Now, I will say this, Steven Adams, who else is there? And
I was just looking. I think Steven Adams is their oldest player on the whole team.
Exactly, and I believe Steven Adams is what, 27? So
I think he's 26. Yeah.
So
that's crazy, bro. Crazy.
Exactly. So in my eyes, it's not that I don't think Memphis doesn't have the talent to beat them. Of course I do. They're in this position at the end of the day because they do have the talent. But at the same time, when it comes down to the close games, the clutch moments, I'm sorry. In this series specifically, if I need to pick one player to give me that moment, I'm easily going Anthony Edwards any day of the week.
I'm gonna say this though, like, so I agree. I'm not giving Memphis this series easily, but I'll say I do agree with, like you say, them being young or youthful or whatever. I don't know if y'all were like listening to the game last night, but on the very last possession, the commentator kept saying, "And I'm letting them run free. They can throw up a shot if they want to. I'm not gonna contest the shot whatsoever." And he was screaming like, "Don't contest, don't contest, contest." And sure enough, somebody jumps clear across the screen to try to block Bane's shot, and it goes in. And I was thinking to myself, if he made the shot, he did beat the buzzer, and I was kind of thinking to myself, if that guy would have fouled just then, we're talking about an overtime game, and I don't think Minnesota can bounce back from that. You know what I'm saying? Type deal. So I think that youth situation, like I say, is on both ends, but. Pat Bev, like Alex was saying, and like Tavares, like you had just kind of piggybacked off of. Pat Bev could be the difference maker in this series coming down the stretch.
Right. But so all right, so let's get into the next series we got. So let's get into the Sixers and Raptors series. The Sixers had a chance to close it out last night. Ultimately couldn't do it. So Alex, I'm gonna start with you, man. So what exactly does that tell you for this series? Does it make a difference? Does it change your opinion in the Sixers at all? Or does it change everything you thought about them?
So it doesn't change everything I thought about them. Like, they look like one of the best teams in the playoffs. The problem is Joel Embiid is hurt, and I don't think people are making enough about it. He apparently has like a fractured thumb or something going on with his thumb, and I don't think that will be a big deal. I think they'll be able to probably finish it in 5. I think a gentleman's sweep probably, but I think it's going to be a big deal going up against Miami because normally Embiid dominates the Heat, and if he is not 100%, James Harden is playing like a ghost of his past self. He is not playing. I mean, Tyrese Maxey looks like the second best player on the team right now, and I just think that. But I think they'll end up beating Toronto probably in 5 games. I would imagine they're going to get it done in Philadelphia.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I haven't watched much of this series. I think it was kind of expected for the 76ers to come through this with ease. I'm not saying some people call it sweet, but they should have definitely 5 games, no more than 6 type situation. The James Harden thing is a conundrum. They were saying that KD was mad when they came into training camp and James Harden wasn't in shape, and that there was comments about KD's, telling him like he doesn't have his first step anymore, like you can't get past anybody anymore, stuff like that. And I think it's starting to show. Like James Harden is not who he once was. Some are blaming the rule change. Some are blaming his weight. I think it's a little bit of both. It used to be, like you say, you come down the lane and flailing your arms and you get some type of wild shot up and one. They're calling flat foul because somebody reached. Or you're standing at the 3-point line, you kick out your legs, or you do some just type of dramatic foul, and they giving you the call. Tobias Harris, I mean, was this the guy we saw in the regular season? The last 2 seasons, no, he had done pretty well in the regular season. Like you say, Maxey so far has been their second best player, and Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid. So, but like I said, I haven't watched much of this series so far. It has been pretty what people anticipated.
Well, for starters, I want to start off with your Tobias Harris comments. I believe he's played solid. I don't think he's played fantastic. The first 2 games, he actually played extremely well. The last 2, he's been okay. He's been solid. He's been all right. But as far as James Harden goes, he's still. I'm not saying he's playing at the superstar level he once has, but he's still giving me about 18, 20 a night with 10 and 11 assists. I mean, it's not what you traded for, but it's still a pretty damn good night for him. Like at his standard that he has set, no, it's not good enough. But he's still giving you pretty good numbers, so you could live with it for now at least. But I agree with Alex. I don't think they could get away with this if they were to go up against the Miami Heat next round, which, I ultimately told Stiggs that I like us to actually go to the finals, but, that's neither here nor there. But now it's starting to look like that's going to come to fruition.
Yeah, I'm about to say them boys looking good right now. But my homegirl, she a Heat fan too. She actually got me 2 years ago when y'all went to the finals. I think every last one of her teams on her playoff bracket was actually right that year. But like I say, y'all are looking good. I can't get y'all finals this year, but if y'all play this team, yeah, I got y'all winning.
Listen, man. I like our chances right now, especially how everyone else been looking so far. But with that being said, though,
Y'all looking good.
with that being said, though, I think Tyrese Maxey is taking a step in the right direction, like Alex also mentioned. He's he didn't play well last game. He had 11 points, but the games before that previously, he's been looking as if he's ready to ascend to that All Star kind of caliber level. He's been playing phenomenal for the most part in this series, and if they can get him to just continuously giving them 18 a night, 18 to 22 points a night, and they can still get James Harden to be the facilitator and add on his 20 as well. Regardless of who they play, this team is still gonna be tough to beat, especially if Joel Embiid. But regardless of how that goes down, I think they also make a gentleman sweep of this series as well. So it doesn't change how I believe about what I believe about them. Let's get off into the series that we've been trying to avoid a little bit. The Golden State Warriors versus the Nuggets. This looks like it's gonna be a sweep, but Stiz, I want to start with you, my man. If you got any thoughts you want to add to the series, you can go ahead and say it.
Yeah, like I said, this series is over. For Denver, I'm extremely excited to see if they can bring back pretty much what they have for next year, and they get quarterback and Murray back. I think that they'll be a nightmare for anybody that they play. With Porter, Murray, Aaron Gordon, and then Jokic. The only thing that I would be on the Golden State side. I mean, what can you say? I think that they're great. Their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. If somebody is able to run with them in the postseason, I think they're in trouble because they're only going to be able to sub in guys that can run and shoot. The same thing as their starting squad, but that what they calling that DEFCON lineup, that's tough, bro. That's tough. And like you say, you play a team like the Grizzlies, okay, they can keep up, but they don't have, the veterans, to keep them, sound of mind on the sideline. And then I think Steve Kerr is going to outcoach any coach that's left in the West right now. Or maybe not Monty Williams, but
well, I was about to say, man, don't sleep on Monty now.
So we'll see, but I think that lineup, I would like to see them play somebody closer to their caliber before I can see them going to the finals. But that lineup is going to be something tough to do.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Really, it's done for sure. They're sweeping them. My only thing is I'm interested for the offseason because I think Klay Thompson is finding his way out of Golden State because I think Jordan Poole is going to take his spot in the rotation ultimately. Jordan Poole is looking like a bona fide superstar. At least he's coming on as one. But I don't see anybody in the West beating Golden State right now, especially with Devin Booker being injured. I don't even know if we'll get to that one eventually, but that one's going to be tough to make out of the first round. So I have some thoughts on that one. But I think this Golden State series is done. Like Golden State's going to be hanging out for probably a week because these playoffs are spread out very far. Like I think round 2 and doesn't even start until like Friday of next week.
Right. And just to add to that a little bit, yeah, the series is definitely done. But I want to add on to what Alex had mentioned about Klay Thompson. I think Klay Thompson times is up with this Golden State Warriors. And this is something I've been beating the table about for a long time. I think Klay Thompson is one of the most overrated damn players in the league. I'm not saying he bad. I'm not saying the guy ain't good. But what I am saying is I've never seen a 3-and-D guy be elevated to the point where people are saying he is the best at his position. I was like, listen,
Who's better?
You think he the best shooting guard in the league?
No, you said 3-and-D. Who's a better 3-and-D guy?
No. But that's what I'm saying. I think he's
the best 3-and-D ever.
No. Listen, I won't take that from him. I think he may very well be that. But people have told me this guy's the best shooting guard in the league, not 3-and-D guy, shooting guard. And I'm sorry. No, I'm not giving him that. Because this is a guy who cannot create his own shot. He can't dribble. He can't make any kind of plays whatsoever outside of shooting the ball. And even though as good as he is on the defensive end, he's made one All-NBA defensive team in his career, and his off-ball defense is horrible. And listen, this isn't me ragging on Klay Thompson. This is just me saying I don't think he's the player a lot of people make him out to be. Because
I'm
people,
trying to think of better shooting guards right now.
you don't.
At one point in time, the obvious would have been James Harden, but then we get into the whole: is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard?
Either way, I'm taking Clay. I don't want Bowberry Biscuit on my roster if I have Clay.
Hold on. Just so y'all know, the Zoom meeting go in a minute. Y'all just join back up on the link.
Okay, so let's end, bro, and then come back.
Yeah, let's come back because I got some thoughts on this.
For sure.
All right, go ahead.